A little bit early, sorry. I'm sat here waiting, and I thought I might as well just start. If anybody turns up, that's great. If they don't, that's okay. I'm just going to sit here and knit. So, third vlog of October, third live stream I should say. Halfway through October already, not quite sure where it's going. What have I been up to this week? A lot of knitting. Oh, hello, that's my husband. Yeah, a lot of knitting. And there's Nancy. Hello, Nancy. Fair bit of getting stressed, trying to book my COVID vaccine. I'm not even going to go into that because I get stressed talking about it. Hello, Laurie. Oh, hello, Karen. Hello, Alex. Hello, Belinda. We're safe from Sally this week. Hello, Connie. Well done. Yeah, we're safe from Sally this week, I think. She's gone to Rhinebeck. I don't think she's got any Wi-Fi, so I think we're all right. Not that I don't love Sally dearly, but yeah. Only real news I've got for you. Oh, you're in North Carolina now, Karen. Wow, you're getting about. Yeah, Stephen West. Clue came out Thursday. I hadn't finished Clue 1. Clue 2 came out Thursday. And I looked at it and I wasn't sure I liked it. And I was chatting with my friend Caroline from the Aria Bark podcast and our friend Jane. And Caroline said very sensibly, why don't you just put it down, wait and see what Clue 3 brings, see if you like it any better. So that's what I was going to do, but I wasn't sure I was actually going to carry on and finish it. And then I've seen a few made by other people and on Instagram and what have you, and I realised that the problem I was having with it wasn't the pattern, it was the colours I was knitting it in. And this is what happened with Shawlography, which was last year's MCAL. I picked colours according to what the pattern told me to. So obviously that's going to be very Stephen West-like. And it never leaves my bedroom. I use it like a bed jacket. Loved knitting it. Did loads of interesting stitches knitting it. But whilst I love all the colours individually, they just don't go together. Hello, Kathleen. Yeah, so I'm changing my colours again. That's where I was going. That's where that great long ramble was heading. I am changing my colours again, which means I've got to start from scratch again. But I don't really mind because I'm quite excited to knit it in the colours that I've chosen. I'm not going to tell you what they are, just in case they change again. Because let's face it, I'm on what, number 4 or 5 colour palette so far. I should do a whole separate podcast really entitled What Colours is Mandy Knitting Her Stephen West in Today? Not even this week. Yes, Karen, I know we've kind of spoken about that before, haven't we? I'm quite happy to go with the flow pattern wise, but it's a learning process, isn't it? You learn that your colours, he's going to guide you to the kind of colour scheme that he likes and that he enjoys. So you know that's going to be a bit wild and wacky. And I think what I'm going to do, because I will do it again next year, because I really enjoy it, but I think what I'm going to do is have an idea in mind of the colours I'm going to use, but wait until Clue 1 comes out and see how those colours are going to start working together before I make my final decision, because he wants high contrast, bright colours, and that's not necessarily what I want to make. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Yeah, wait till we've all done it and then you can decide whether you want to do it or not. That is a good plan. And you know, I'm not averse to bright colours. I do love a bright colour, but I do try and put it with a neutral, and that's not what's happening really with the MCAL. So I've had a rethink, and I am quite excited to get started again, but I need to get some things off my needles. This for a start. This is Celosius by Jennifer Steingars. The pattern says to knit 11 inches from the division for the armholes. I like 19 and I've still got 7 to go, and I've touched nothing else for the last 2 days but this. I'm determined to get this off the needles and then move on to the next one. Yeah, 2 colours might work. I don't know. I've seen a few people who are doing it in more than 2. Sorry, I'm back talking about the Stephen West. If you can't see what the comments are, I forget sometimes. I've seen some people who are doing it like I did the smorgasbord. I just used scraps that would go together, and I've seen people doing that with this one, and it does work. But I think you've got to be quite confident about what you're doing with colours to do something like that. But yeah, that's another option. So yeah, I'm trying to get this one finished, and then I want to get the one with the leaves on finished, and then I should really work on Ewan's sweater, which is, I've done the back. I've got about that far to go before I divide for the, we'll start the raglan shaping because it's knit in pieces, and the sleeves, and then that one's done. And then there's only my green sweater that I was knitting on when I was streaming last Saturday, and then that's all my sweaters off the needles, and I can cast on about 15 other new ones that are all the thing I want to knit next. But yeah, I thought I would concentrate on getting these things off the needles. Hello, Nikki. And getting some Christmas gift knitting done. Oh, hope you enjoyed your break, Belinda. Have a good rest of the day. Because I can't really show my Christmas gift knitting on the podcast. My plan is to do a separate podcast that I will, once I've finished everything, but before I've wrapped it, I'll do a podcast detailing all my Christmas gift knitting, and then put that up in the week between Christmas and New Year so I can have a week off. That's my plan. I don't really want to show what I'm knitting on the regular podcast because some of the gifts I'm knitting are for people who do watch the podcast, and I don't want to spoil any surprises. So that means that I've got to try and fit in, at the moment, gift knitting, Stephen West, and stuff that I can show on the podcast, and I'm just not managing to do it, and I don't like to shortchange you on the podcast, which is why there's not going to be one this week, this Wednesday. Just give me a chance to do a bit of catching up. But I will be still live streaming next Saturday. I got completely off the topic of what I've done this week, probably because I haven't really done much. Really not been out, no one's been in. Peter's managed to get through the week without doing himself any more damage. told you last Saturday that he'd had an accident at work and he'd given himself concussion. That was Thursday morning he did that. Saturday evening, it was carnival. He was out with his friends. Oh, well, that's good. I won't interrupt your wedding, Nikki. You won't miss anything. Yeah, he was out with his friends watching the carnival and his wife, I presume, and laughed so hard that he threw his head back laughing and banged the lump on his head again. It's just as well that boy's got a cast iron head, I tell you. Yeah, I think that's about the only interesting thing that happened this week. I told you last Saturday that I'd ordered a gastronome pan. I remember what it was called, Sarah. Are you pleased with me? Well, when it came, I'd got the dimensions wrong. So what I was expecting was a big pan. You know, like when you go into a cafe or a restaurant or a canteen, and they've got like the chips in a thing and they dish it out. It's one of those. And I needed it to be big enough really to cover the hob. So if I want to dye 3-4 skeins of yarn all the same colour to make a sweater, I can do them all in the one pan. So there's more chance of them coming out more evenly the same colour. Well, I ordered it. It came and it was the size of a small loaf of bread. It was literally about that long by about that wide and about that deep. It would have been excellent for baking a loaf of bread in, but absolutely no use at all for what I wanted. So I went back to my friend Sarah and got the actual measurements, dimensions that I needed to order and tried again. So the tiny one's gone back and the big one has been delivered. I've yet to try it out. I want to do some more dyeing. I've still got, I don't know how many. I only used black, yellow, green, red, purple. I've got at least 5 more dyes to have a play with and see what colour they come out. Might even do that this afternoon. But yeah, until I've had a play with them all, I don't really want to dye. I've got 4 skeins of yarn left, undyed yarn. And I don't want to use them all up and then discover that I've used a colour that I didn't really like. So, oh, that's a big bang. Yeah, so I might get up to that this weekend. Other than that, it's just trying to slog through this next 7 inches. Thank you. I was very pleased with them. I keep getting them out and looking at them. I want to knit them, but I need to get this stuff off the needles first. And so I've put them away in the bag with all my dyeing supplies to try and keep them out of sight and hopefully out of mind, so I don't go and cast them on when I should be doing something else. Yeah, I don't want to use up all my undyed yarn in one go, but there is a very grave danger that I'm going to do that. So that really is all I have planned for the week. Get this 7 inches done. This sweater's got a split hem, longer at the back than at the front. So I've got 7 inches till I get to the first lot of ribbon, which is the front. And then I don't remember how much extra I've got to do till I can finish the back, but it won't be much. Can't be more than 1 inch or 2, surely. And this has short sleeves as well, so there's every possibility I could have this finished by the end of the weekend. Although this is the first time I've picked it up today. But I did do some knitting this morning. I was knitting on a Musselburgh this morning, so that was okay. I love them. I know they're not very popular with some people, but they just knit themselves while you're not even paying attention, as far as I can see. I've got some pink yarn. It's Stylecraft Life, I think. 20% wool. The evil hat. It is not an evil hat, Nancy. It is a lovely hat. I hope you're going to wear the one I'm knitting you for Christmas. There'll be some rude comment comes back to that. Ah, well, I did cover that just now, Joe. My Stephen West is currently sitting in the naughty corner till I'm ready to deal with it again. Lost my thread now. I'm not really knitting you a muscle bra, Nancy. It's okay. You don't have to unfriend me. It's okay. I promise not to make you wear the evil hat. Yeah, it's not gone wrong, Joe. But I have changed my mind about the colours again. Oh, how to start a muscle bra. Well, I think the pattern gives you a couple of options. You can start it with a pinhole cast on, which is fiercely fiddly. I knit a temperature blanket in 2020. Oh, so you will like your Christmas hat. Okay, Nancy, that's okay. And I did squares, and I started each square with a pinhole cast on, and it was my own idea, and I hated every minute of it. So you can start it with a pinhole cast on, or you can, I've done it this way as well, you can start it with a Turkish cast on as if you were going to knit a toe-up sock. I've done it that way. Or, and this is what I did with the last one, I just cast on, I think I used a long tail cast on, 2 stitches onto 4 DPNs, so 2 stitches on each needle. And then when I'd knitted far enough, I just used the tail to close up the hole. And that, I think, was probably the easiest way of doing it. And then I knit it on DPNs until it's big enough that I can get it onto a circular needle. And then that's it. It's just round and round and round and round until it's time to start the decreases. And then sometimes I'll go back to the DPNs. Sometimes I just magic loop it. But I find it easier to start with the DPNs, but not necessarily finish up with them, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say if you want to give one a go, just use whatever cast on you normally use and then close up the hole with the end. It's a little bit of a cheat. I think what I like about it so much is that you can use, oh, Nancy did a magic ring cast on. That's another good option. I think what I like is you can use any weight of yarn, any size of needle, because you don't gauge swatch or anything. You start knitting, and when you've got enough hat that you can knit, you can measure, you measure an inch and then look at the chart, and it tells you, depending on how many stitches you've got on that inch, how many stitches you need for each of the 4 sections to make the size you want. Yeah, seriously, just try that and then close up the hole when you've got a bit further on. It is like knitting a sock. A lot of people say, oh, it's just the same as knitting a sock. It is a bit like knitting a sock. Obviously it's bigger, but you don't have to pay any attention to it. It's no problem. I am full of wise advice. If there's anything else you need to know, Nikki, just ask me. For wise advice, read like nonsense, but yeah. Yeah, you don't have to keep measuring it. you're supposed to measure from the cast on end, and I made a mistake the first hat I made and measured from the end of the increases. And in actual fact, everyone that I've made a hat for has preferred it because obviously it comes out a bit longer. I just think it's a great pattern. It's very, very versatile. Thank you. Queen of the Wafflers, thank you very much. I shall wear my crown with pride. Oh dear. So, that's all I've been up to this week. Mostly knitting this jumper as far as I can remember. You might as well tell me what you've been up to this week. Nikki's preparing for a wedding. I took it in a good way, thank you. I did. I'm hoping, I should have said, I've gone back to my old phone for this, and I'm hoping it will cure that flickering that was on the last one, the last live, because it didn't do it the first week when I was using this phone. Did it last week when I was using my new phone. So I'm hoping it's the phone that was the issue, and that doing it on this one will have cured it. We'll see in the fullness of time. It's very quiet without Sally. Oh, I know, Connie. There's a few people whose vlogs I watch, and I religiously, oh gosh, 1993. Yeah, it wasn't flickering during the live, Joe. It was flickering the recording. YouTube must record it as it's live streamed and then put it up. And if you watch the recording, every time somebody commented and script was going up my screen, it was flickering. I've forgotten where I was going with that. I was going somewhere. I think I was saying it was quiet without Sally. Don't tell her I said that though. She's gone to Rhinebeck. We're not jealous at all. Not really. Oh, vlogs. That's what I was talking about. Well done, brain. Kicked in eventually. Yes, there's loads that I want to watch. But what I'm having to do is, there's two I watch religiously every day. Alex from My Yarny Corner and Amanda from Little Lycac. And I watch them when I get into bed at night. That's like my wind down for sleep. Not that they're boring. Don't want that to get misinterpreted. Oh no. Oh, tell me later, Caroline. Pretty sure I know what it's going to be though. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, everyone else's. Sally was going to vlog. The infamous Sally was going to vlog from America. But she tried to upload the first one and it used a whole month's data in 10 minutes. So that idea's gone out the window. But she's hopefully recording and is going to put it up when she gets back. If she does, I'll let you all know so that you can go and meet the infamous Sally. And Denise from Dear Designs, who usually does Vlogtober. Yeah, Little Drops of Wonderful I'm going to catch up with after, I think, because I just can't fit everyone in. It's another reason I'm doing it like this, because I thought it's easier than trying to fit in 15 minutes a day. If there's only one, you can join in with the live stream, you can watch it afterwards, or not do either if you don't fancy it. And it's not such a, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't encroach on your time quite so much. Yeah, Denise normally vlogs, but she's on holiday, so she's not doing it. So that's two less to watch. My friend, the lovely Tonya in America, she's not vlogging at the moment either, and she's one that I, like Alex and Amanda, I will watch every day. Yeah. Everyone else I'm just going to binge later. That faded off the screen before I had a chance to. Poppy is bossy today. She came up and fetched me out of my bed this morning. Saturday morning is my morning for a lie-in. And she fetched me out of my bed and wanted me to go downstairs to open the cat flap for her. I'd like to point out she's quite capable of going in and out the cat flap by herself. She's extremely bossy. She then wanted me to come and sit in here, and I wasn't ready to come and sit in here. So she's currently curled up on a beanbag in the living room. I don't think she's noticed I've come in here and that I'm talking to you, otherwise she'd appear. She might be asleep. Yeah, otherwise she's good. She's beyond cheeky. She is the world's naughtiest cat. She sits there looking like a little furry angel. She's a menace. I'm sure I've told you all before, but she's stripped the wallpaper off behind the sofa. She is very bossy, Jo. She bosses Dave around something fierce. She's lucky we love her, I tell you. She tells us when we've got to go to bed. She tells me when I've got to go up now as well, apparently. I'll tell you later, Dave. I think I know what it's about. I'll tell you later. She's not a lap sitter. The only one of our cats who will sit on your lap is Rose. And she's only started doing that really in the last 7 months. She used to do it, Rose is 11, and she used to do it when she was cold. She'd come in with cold paws, sit on your lap for literally 5 minutes to warm her paws up, and then she'd be gone. But she's taken to coming and sitting on Ewan's lap the minute he appears. He gets in from work and sits down, and she's on his lap before his backside's hit the couch. We have 4 cats, Alice. Yeah, Rose will only sit on your lap if she wants to. Rocket will sit on Ewan's lap, but only if no one's around. Poppy won't sit on anybody's lap, and neither will Lily. Although she's got on Dave's. I was going to say on Dave's lap. It's not really on Dave's lap. He's been laying on the sofa and she's just climbed on him, which is a bit like having someone put a bag of cement on you. She's quite heavy. Yeah, no, they're not really lap cats, any of them. We used to have a dog. We got the first 2 cats when Ewan went to university. Just before he went, I'd always wanted a cat. I had a cat when I was little, and Dave was allergic to cats. But he saw some kittens and he went and he fussed the kittens. Who did I say went to university? It was Peter that went to university. I don't know who I said, but Dave is correcting me, so I obviously said someone else. Yes, Peter, our eldest. Yeah, Ewan's not gone to university. Gosh, poor brain. Yeah, he was going to go, and I was a little bit heartbroken because he was going hundreds of miles away. And Dave found this kitten, or these kittens, and he sort of played with the kittens and rubbed his eyes, and nothing dreadful happened. So he asked me if I'd like a kitten, and of course I said, oh yes please. And when we went to choose a kitten, the lady said, oh, I really want them to go in pairs so they won't be lonely. And I thought, well, that's it, that's going to be a deal breaker, he's going to change his mind now. And he just went, oh well, if we've got one we might as well have two. So we ended up with Lily and Rose, who are sisters, Tabby sisters. And they're 11 now. At the time we had a dog as well, Maisie, but we lost her 2017, January 2017. And then we were in Lidl's doing our shopping, like you do. And a lady that I sort of knew came and said to us, oh, you don't want a kitten, do you? And Dave's eyes lit up because it turned out there was a white kitten. So she said, well, that turned out to be Poppy. And her cat had had 3 kittens the day before. One had died, and she had the 2 left, Poppy and her brother Rocket, who's black and white, who has appeared on the podcast summer last year. Before I got this chair, he used to sleep on the chair that I used to have here. And so you saw him a few times then. But he's quite a shy cat. He'll come to you for fuss, and when he wants fuss, he really wants fuss. But the rest of the time, if you try and touch him, he acts like he's feral. Ewan did want a raccoon, Dave. Yes, he did. Which is why Rocket is called Rocket, after Rocket the raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. Which is weird, because if any of the cats are like a raccoon, it's Rose. Rose was also named by Ewan, oddly enough. That's how they all ended up with flower names. Ewan started it all with Rose, and I thought Lily went nicely with Rose. And then when we got Poppy, the lady we got her from is the local poppy seller coordinator for the British Legion, so she got called Poppy. And Rocket, I thought, was breaking the mould, but there is a little flower called Sweet Rocket. It's a tiny little pink flower, so it's okay, he's still got a flower name. Poor Maisie did get terrorised by those kittens, though. They were used to having a dog around, because where they'd been born there was a great big German Shepherd called General, I think. But Maisie was a little bit frightened of the kittens, all 8 stone of her, and they kept getting in her bed to snuggle up against her, and then she'd get frightened and get out. Ah, Raylene, well done. I'd say it's nice to see you too, but I can't actually see you, can I? But it's nice to know you're there. I'm still using my bag. Maisie was a German Shepherd Labrador cross. She was bred to be a guide dog by the Guide Dogs of the Blind for the Blind Association. They tried new parents for, because I didn't realise they breed here, certainly they breed all their pups themselves, and they tried different parents for her litter, and of the litter I think it was 3 of them were rejected for being too excitable when they were out on a walk. So she had a year's puppy training before she came to us, and then they're house trained, but they're trained specifically to do things in a particular way for blind people. So whereas most dogs will take care of their toilet needs when you take them out for a walk, they're taught to do that before they go out for a walk, because obviously if you're blind it's a bit hard for you to find it if you're out walking, and also when they're out walking they're working. So she would go to the toilet on command. She was funny about travelling in a car. They're taught to travel in the front seat between the front seat passenger's knees, basically, so down between you and the dashboard. If you put her there, she was good as gold. If you put her in the back or in the boot of the hatchback, she yapped and sang and howled all the way to wherever you were going. She would never touch food on a plate, but she ate the sandwiches out of Peter's girlfriend's handbag, cling film and all. She stole them out the handbag and ate the lot. She ate a packet of Roundtree's fruit pastels, and the only reason we knew about that was her bed was full of sugar. And on the day of my uncle's funeral, she stole a big bar of Galaxy chocolate and ate the lot of that as well. No ill effect whatsoever. Fortunately, bearing in mind German Shepherds can have quite delicate digestive systems, she didn't particularly. She was a lovely dog. She was a fantastic house dog, but the reason she failed her, because after I distracted myself, after they'd done their year's puppy walking, it's called, they go and they have an assessment to see if they're suitable to train and have their guiding training. And she failed. I think she went for a bird while they were walking. And she was never, ever calm on a lead. She was 11 when she died, and she was just so excitable on the lead right up until the day she died. They're supposed to know, and I can't remember which way round it goes now, but if they're on one side of you, they're working, so they've got to be on their best behaviour, and they've, even puppy walking, they're taught which side is which. And when they're on the other side, it's exercise and recreation. Made no difference. She pulled like a train, and we tried everything. Harnesses, the things that go around their nose, all sorts of things. We even resorted to the old-fashioned check chain. Made no difference. She'd just like go hulk up and then pull anyway. Crazy dog. But she was an absolutely excellent dog. And when we lost her, it broke my heart so badly. I just can't face having another dog. Hello, Denise. I was talking about you just now. Hope you're having a lovely time in Spain. That swimming pool looked a bit chilly though. I don't envy you that. I was just saying you're not vlogging this October because you're holidaying instead. Yeah, so that was Maisie. Now we have 4 cats who would probably... Always nice things about you, Denise. Always. Not like that, Sally. Oh, Dave says working on the left, off duty on the right. So, yeah. I think you're all nuts. Sorry, I've become aware that I've stopped talking because I'm just reading what's going up the screen, which must be quite boring for anyone who's watching this after the live and can't see what's going up on the screen. There is a way to see that. If you're watching this and it's recorded, I should have told you this at the beginning really. Underneath the little box, oh, it probably won't work on your television, but if you're watching it on your phone or a tablet or whatever, there's a little box underneath the actual video, and you can click on it and it says live chat, and then you'll be able to see all the comments that came up and when they came up and what they were. Then I won't look like quite such a lunatic. Probably not a lot of hope in that direction though. Well, I feel a bit bad saying it's getting near to time to go because Denise has only just arrived and Rayleen's not been here very long. But we're fast approaching 40 minutes. And I try not to make it too long because I don't want you all to get bored. And my coffee's probably cold. I made a coffee before I came up. And then didn't drink it. Oh. So, unless anybody has got anything else they want to ask or tell me, I'll give you a couple of minutes because I think it takes a little while. Because I've got dodgy comment checker on. I can't remember what it's called. So I think it searches for keywords, or I don't know what it does. I'm not even going to pretend that I know the techie stuff. I just pressed a button. Dave, that's mean. It's lucky you're my husband. Community guidelines, Dave. Yeah, you might have to wait a bit longer for mine, Denise. Might have changed my mind about the colour again. Not even Sally's fault this time. Right then, since my husband is being mean, I think it's probably time for me to go. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, control yourself, Raylene. Oh, dear. Yes, Denise, I have changed again. I think this is about number 4 change of colour. I'm not even telling anybody what it is at the moment because it might well have changed again by tomorrow. I think you should go shopping, Alice. I do. I always recommend shopping. I bet you're still in bed, aren't you? I seem to remember this conversation from last night. And I was right. Poor Lorraine does not seem to have made it. What are you on about red and green? You know full well they should never be seen. Now, see, you've made me lose my stitch marker, Dave. Just like when you ruined Christmas by guessing what your present was. Oh, that's nice. Well done, Walter. See, that's how a man should behave. Not tormenting his wife about red and green being together and saying that people only join her life towards the end so they don't have to put up for her for long. It is all Dave's fault. If you've been around for a while, you'll know pretty much everything is Dave's fault. Now he's sending me rainbows. I'm not sure what that means. It works either way, Connie, to be honest. It works either way. When I first met Dave, Peter was 5 or 6, I think. And we knew a lot of people called Dave. So we used to add their surnames on. And he was known as Dave Davis. So whenever... 6. Okay. Whenever he mentioned Dave, he used to say, Dave Davis. So every time he spoke to Dave, rather than going, Dave, would you like a biscuit? He'd go, Dave Davis, would you like a biscuit? Like it was one long word. It took him quite a while to give that up. This is completely off topic. One of our early dates, we took him to, was it Longleat, Dave? I can't remember where we went, but it was going to be this special day out. It was the first time they'd spent a whole day together. We took him out for this lovely day out, and all he did the whole day was moan that he wanted to go. Dave's mum had got a dog, well, Dave had got a dog, Was it Port Lyme? I don't know. It was some animal parky thing anyway. Dave's mum had got a black German Shepherd called Sheba. I think she was Dave's really, but. And we'd been to the pet shop and we'd bought her a squeaky carrot. And all he wanted to do was go home and give Sheba the squeaky carrot. He whinged all day. We could have just saved a fortune and taken the squeaky carrot round for Sheba. Later on, Sheba used to take Peter. I nearly did it again. Take Peter for walks because she was such a well-behaved dog. Dave never had her on a lead, but we'd put a lead on her because Peter wanted to walk her. We'd put a lead on her, and she'd sort of go, and then she'd walk him round the block. It was very sweet. She'd walk him, you understand, not he'd walk her. Right, I've rambled on for way too long now. So I'm going to drink my coffee, probably phone my husband and tell him off. She did have very loud eye rolls. She taught me everything I know. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to go, and I will see you next Saturday because I won't be around on Wednesday. And I hope you have a great week. I'm dipping my hair in my coffee, I've noticed. That'll be nice. And save a little bit for later. It's definitely time to go. I'm going to go. I'm definitely going now. This is me going. See you next week.